You think you know, but sis, you have no idea. So stay tuned. Let's talk about it. Hey y'all, hey, and welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are doing well. So as you guys can see from the title, we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. Yes, we're going to have a little girl-to-girl, heart-to-heart chat today about something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while now. While doing our nails today, I wanted to wait until God gave me the green light, but also when I was ready and healed enough to talk about it. I realized that this month makes it 12 years since I've been on YouTube, y'all. I've been posting on YouTube for 12 years, y'all. I remember I was 8 months pregnant with Maddie and I was at home one day. For a while I was on YouTube just listening to music. Then I started coming across beauty tutorials, hair tutorials, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I could do that. I opened up my raggedy HP computer. I posted my first eyebrow tutorial. Then I started talking about my life. So 12 years later, here we are. So I just want to thank you guys so much for rocking with me all these years. I mean, you guys have literally been rocking with me since the beginning when I was posting about my hair journey, about my motherhood journey, childbirth experiences. You guys have been with us since we were in Maryland, moved to Texas. Like, you guys have been rocking with us for so long. All I can say is just thank you so much. Like, you guys have been amazing. You guys have been so supportive, so loving, just an overall beautiful online community that I'm so grateful for. The ups and downs, the positivity, the negativity. Like, I love you guys so much and I cannot thank y'all enough for your support. Although I've authentically shared the ups and downs of my life, I want to go a little deeper because right now we're living in some dark times, if we could just be honest, okay? And so I know what it's like to live in darkness and to overcome darkness, overcome trauma and stuff like that. But I want to share some things truly about me, my upbringing, overcoming darkness. I hope my story and my testimony can bring light and healing to someone out there. For anyone who wants to give up on life, you're on the verge, you're on the edge of just giving up on everything, just know that you are closer to your breakthrough than you think. And if God has you here, alive and breathing, He's not done with you yet. Ask me how I know. So let's talk about it. Instead of doing the usual get ready with me, doing the makeup and hair, so like that, we're gonna do our nails because I need to get my nails done, okay? But the cost of going to the salon right now, so we're going to go back to the basics and do our own nails. If you do your nails at home and you have not been using this, I don't know what to tell you, girl, because these are literally like the best Gel X nails that I have been using for the past over a year now. I got small, medium, different designs. So I am a French girly. I love me the square look. So I actually wasn't going to do this style today. I just ordered some round almond styles because I've been wanting to try the almond style for a while, but I cannot find them, y'all. Look at me as a gentle reminder not to order stuff from Amazon before you move because it's going to get lost in the midst of all your boxes and stuff, okay? So I'm not going to do the full on Gel X. Like, usually I'll put like the gel on, the whole gel shebang, but I want to find those nails because I want those on really bad. So I'm just going to use nail glue for now until I find those nails. And then when I find that packet, again, whole shebang. And then if you guys would like to see a tutorial on that, let me know and I got y'all. So let's hop right into it. Let's hop right straight into it, okay? You guys know a little bit about me, but I want to share a little bit more about me just so that way you guys can get to know me a little bit better, why I am the way that I am, just how I've been able to overcome so much in my life, why my family is literally my saving grace, and what life is like for me. I am so close to God the way that I am, why I have no shame in giving God all the glory, all the praise, and all of that good stuff. So let's start, okay? Just a little trigger warning because I went through some things, honey, okay? Talking about SI, we're talking about grapes minus the G, talking about some deep stuff that a lot of people don't usually talk about on these streets. So another reason why I have not opened up about this is, for one, you know, if it wasn't for God and therapy, I would not be able to talk about this without crying, because it's just that deep and it's that traumatic. You know, sometimes the internet can be what it is, but most times it's not a safe space. When women tell their story, nobody believes them. Watching things unfold right now in our country further confirms why people don't speak out, why they don't talk about the things they go through, because who's going to believe them? Nobody. A woman can sit there and tell her truth until she is blue and purple in the face, and someone will literally call her a liar. They will tell her, oh, she's full of it, she's making up stuff, and now she has to go through life trying to find ways to cope and function in life, because who's going to believe her? Nobody. So at this point in my life, I really don't care. I don't want people calling me and like, oh my God, crazy. You know, I don't want this. I'm not sharing this for sympathy. All these years, I've felt so bad about myself. I've had a victim mentality and stuff like that. Ever since I came out of my mom's birth canal, people have been talking about me, even my own family. So I really don't care anymore. I just want my story and testimony to help and heal, especially women who have gone through similar things, who have gone through similar situations, and you feel like you're alone. Trust me, you're not, because I know. So as you guys know, my name is Chrissy, and I know for years now on YouTube, everybody has called me Chris. Most of my friends call me Chris anyway. It's just easier. It's easier to spell. It's easier to say, but also a lot of people don't know how to spell Chrissy. I was born December 5th in the good old city of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I was born and raised in Winston-Salem, Trefo. No matter where I move, because I move a lot, no matter where I go in life, Winston-Salem will always be home, because that's where I was born and raised. And I love where I'm from. People love Charlotte, love people like Raleigh. I love Winston-Salem, okay? Home of Krispy Kreme, hello. And for seafood, hello, okay? So basically I was raised by my mom, and my mom is literally like my best friend. Like, I love her, and you know, she really did her thing taking care of me and my sister. I didn't know my dad. I didn't meet my dad until I was 13 years old, because basically homeboy just signed the birth certificate and chunked the deuces. Please excuse my sense of humor. This is just my way of coping through trauma, coping through the pain. It's just been my coping mechanism for years, just because the situations suck, but at the same time, there's always light in the midst of that darkness. It's just how I'm able to cope and just have some type of understanding of why this happened. My dad basically just chunked the deuces. We actually talked about this not too long ago, because I just wanted understanding and just wondering why somebody could do that. I just wanted to know the truth and just ask, like, why? How can you bring somebody into this world and just leave them? You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, we talked about it, and obviously before we even talked about it, I forgave, because what's the point of, you know, holding in ill feelings towards somebody? So my mom basically raised me and my big sister. And when I say, like, honestly, that was like the best years of my life. Like, just me, my mom, and my sister. Like, I look back at like old pictures and I'm just like, dang, like, I haven't even gotten through the hard stuff and I'm already crying. You look at old pictures of me, my mom, my sister, and those were some of the best years of my life. Like, it was just us three. My mom was a nurse, and so, you know, she sacrificed. Mom was a single mom, raising me and my sister. She did what she had to do to take care of us. She made no excuses. She did what she had to do. And literally, those are like the best days of my life. So yeah, so my mom ended up getting married. And I think at that point, things really shifted as far as how our relationship with our mom was, to be honest. Through God and therapy and just coming to terms with a lot of things, I had to make sense of these things, because that was the only way I was going to get some type of closure, and also some type of understanding of why these things happen, if that makes sense. You know, at first I was excited because I'm like, yes, we finally got a dad, you know, someone we can like, you know, play games with, someone, you know, someone that can do manly things with us, you know, take care of us, blase, blase. To be real, that was not the case. In the end of the day, I mean, that was still our dad. I mean, even though he was our stepdad, I still called him dad. You know, I still looked up to him as a dad. But over time, I can tell there was like some type of like inner animosity towards us just because of like how things changed over the years. I think the following year after they got married, my little sister was born. Honestly, if I can be real with y'all, my little sister was literally the best thing that came from my stepdad. Oh, long story short, it felt like as if he treated me and my big sister differently because we weren't his. Basically trying to understand the dynamics of the situation. I don't know, it just felt like we were treated differently because we weren't his. I don't want to go too deep in it because like I said, I still respected him. I still treated him as if he was my dad because like I said, my own father wasn't there with me. So at least I had a father figure. I didn't feel that fatherly love the way that I wanted to feel, all because of the dynamics of our family, if that makes sense. So moving forward, I was like a happy-go-lucky kid. Like I love dancing. Like I danced from the time I was 4 or 5 until I was 18. I did ballet, I did jazz, I did hip hop. Like I just love to move. So that's why when y'all see me doing my TikTok dances, it's like that. It's because I love to dance. You know, dancing was like my escape from like my home life and just other things that I was just going through, having fun, going outside, playing with my friends. It's a pretty diverse elementary school. Elementary school was pretty diverse. I loved everyone that I went to school with. Then middle school came and only a few of us went to the same middle school, and most of us from middle school went to the same high school because, you know, just the district, because we were all on the south side of Winston. So most of us went to school in Kernersville. So I just love the people I went to school with. I went to school with everybody, white kids, Hispanic kids, black kids. Like I just loved the melting pot of the schools that I went to. Obviously, like any other kid, I experienced bullying, especially those who found out I was African. Oh, I meant to tell you guys. So my family, both my mom and dad were born and raised in Liberia. So had they stayed a little bit longer, I would have been born in Liberia, I think. Because of the war and things that were going on at that time, they came to America, and then lo and behold, I came about. All my family on my mom and dad's side are from Liberia. Once some kids found out that my peoples were Liberian, y'all know during that time we had house phones. And so basically when people would call, my mom would answer, she'd be like, hello? Hello? And so once they realized, they were like, dang, why your mama talk like that? And I'm like, what you mean? And so once people started finding out that I was African, of course, they made it into a joke, and they used to call me African booty scratcher. They used to pick on my lips, you know, saying some weird, mean stuff about them. Saying my family chased lions, tigers, bears, like, you know, doing a little dark thing, you know, just some ignorant stuff. They'll call me Blackie, Charcoal, Crispy, because, you know, my name's Chrissy. So they would say Crispy. Kids were so mean. And I'm like, who raised y'all? Like at first it was tolerable, but over time, especially the boys that were constantly doing it and rubbing in my face all the time, that's when it started to become bad, like really bad. To the point where I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to come in contact with people. I just didn't want to hear it anymore. It was to the point where I stopped telling people that I was African because I knew it was going to come with some kind of joke. One thing I don't play about is my culture, okay? I could talk about a lot of things, but don't talk about my culture, okay? Where it got so bad that I just did not want to go to school anymore. I didn't want to be in contact with anybody that bullied me, talked about me. And so it got like so bad. Started using skin lightening stuff. I don't know if y'all remember Ambi products. Ambi used to have these lightening soaps and stuff like that to make your skin brighter. Like I didn't like try to bleach my skin or anything because I didn't want to damage my skin. I just got so tired of just hearing the nonsense. It just got so bad over time that I just said, I'm tired. Like, I hated my body. Like, I was so skinny. Like, I was so bony. I had no body. You know, I was in middle school around this time when it got so bad. And so all the girls were developing. They had boobs, they had butts. You know, they were getting all the attention and stuff like that. And I had nothing. I had a flat butt. Still wearing shoes from Shoe Show and Payless. Like, oh my God, clothes from Walmart. Like, I was getting fried, y'all. I was getting fried like an egg, you hear me? But over time, it got so bad to the point where I tried to, if you know what I mean. You know, things get censored on here. So yeah, I basically tried to jump from a fan, if that makes sense. And it didn't work. And so I said, dang, okay, this is not supposed to happen, okay? I started getting tough skin, and I just said, you know what? I'm about to start clapping back, okay? Anybody that disrespected my family, my culture, anything, I just clapped back. And once I started clapping back, they stopped. Eventually they stopped. So now I'm in high school, same thing. Like I said, most people I went to middle school with, I went to high school with. So it was a continuation, but I started to embrace who I was. I started embracing my little body. I still didn't have boobs, nothing, y'all. Like I at that point, I just didn't care. Like, I mean, I was eating junk. I was eating Swiss cake rolls. I was eating carbs galore. I was just doing all the things and nothing, but I just grew enough confidence in myself, although I didn't really like what I saw growing up, because remember, back in the day, we didn't see dark-skinned models, we didn't see dark-skinned women, we didn't see natural hair, we didn't see any of that in the media. So we didn't see any of that in the media. So over time, I was just like, well, I don't know what else to do. Like, I can't go change myself. I can't lighten my skin. You know, no matter how much skin brightening stuff I use, it irritated my skin. So I was just like, okay, we're gonna stop. Let's just stop trying to change ourselves and just learn to love ourselves. But it was easier said than done. But that was just like my mindset shift to stop doing the nonsense that I was doing. At this time, still getting bullied, still, you know, still hearing nonsense from people. I just didn't care anymore. I went to school, did what I had to do, went home, went to dance class. I was still a nice girl. I still spoke to people. I was very friendly on campus. Senior year comes, it's time to figure out life. I did not want to go to college, y'all. I wanted to go to New York. I wanted to dance on Broadway. I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be a singer. No one daggone well I couldn't sing. Be an actress. I wanted to dance on Broadway. Like, that was always my dream, because that's why I was with my academy. Because at one point I went to School of Art. If you're from North Carolina, there's this school called North Carolina School of Arts. And so basically that's where a lot of kids that want to pursue art, dances like that in the future, you usually go there to kind of get like a head start, or to like learn and progress faster, you know, strengthen your abilities so that way you can go far in life. So I did go there for a little bit. When you have parents that want you to go to school, have a little backup plan, you know, especially African parents, they want you to be a lawyer, doctor, nurse. They want you to do something with your life, okay? They did something with their life, so they want you to do something with it. I told my mom I did not want to go to college, and that. So, but let me pause real quick. So before, my grandma lived with us, and my grandma was literally like my best friend. Like, how I am is how my grandma was. She was literally the sweetest person. Everybody loved her. The people in the village call her mama. So if you hear me calling Maddie mama, it's because everyone called my grandma mama, and they call my mom mama. So mama is a tradition name that has been passed down. And so now I call Maddie that. And it's just, grandma was literally like my best friend, and I loved her so much. Homegirl was tired of America. She was tired of America, so she took her butt right back to Liberia, and she went back on the farm. And I tell you what, she was so happy. I ain't never seen my grandma so happy. She lived with us. We shared a room. And so, yeah, so that was my best friend. That was my best friend, man. Like, I love my grandma so much. She passed away in 2020. That was one of the hardest things, besides her leaving, her passing really took a toll on me, because I made a promise to myself that I was going to go to Liberia to see her, because I knew she wouldn't come back to America. Homegirl was not coming back here, so I knew I had to be the one to go see her. And I just, I was supposed to go in 2012 with my sister and my mom. If you don't know, going to Africa in December is wicked expensive. And so we just didn't have enough for all three of us to go. So my mom and my sister ended up going and I ended up staying. And I said, okay, I gotta save money so I can go and see my grandma because she's getting older and everything. She ended up passing in 2020. And I'm not gonna lie, that took a toll on me because that's one of the biggest regrets that I have is that I never got to see my grandma again before she died. All right, so we're just getting them stuck on, and then I'm going to go from there. I did not want to go to school. I wanted to go dance on Broadway, flip here, do this thing, that thing. My mama said no. She said, at least get a degree to fall back on just in case. And then if you still want to pursue that, then you can go. So I knew from the jump I was going to go to an HBCU because, like I said, although I went to diverse schools, it's still vast majority white. And so I knew I wanted something different. Big schools in North Carolina were like Duke, UNC Chapel Hill, NC State, UNC Charlotte. I knew I didn't have the GPA to get into those schools, so I didn't even try to apply for those schools. I knew that I wanted to go to an HBCU, point blank period. And I knew from the jump, if I was going to go back to school, I was going to go to an HBCU. So the only school I did apply for on my own was Elizabeth City State. And I started my application with Winston-Salem State, but I ended up not doing it because I wanted to get out of Winston. Like, I knew if I want to stay here, I needed to get out of Winston, and I wanted to get as far away as possible. My best friend, she was going to Fayetteville State. And so my mom knew that. And so she was like, well, why do you want to go to Elizabeth City State? That's like Elizabeth City State was far away from us. And so she was like, well, won't you try applying to something that's not close, something that's still within, a driving distance for her, so like that. So my best friend who was going to Fayetteville State, she ended up, she got in and stuff like that. She was excited to go. So I was like, okay, well, let me shoot my shot and just see where it goes. So right when I got my acceptance letter, I was literally filling out my confirmation card to go to Elizabeth City. And literally, as soon as I put it in the envelope to go put it in the mail, I got my acceptance letter to go to Fayetteville State. Yeah, so my mom, she was excited, all that, stuff like that. I ended up turning down Elizabeth City State to go to Fayetteville State. Honestly, to this day, I still kind of regret it, but I made the best of my college experience at Fayetteville State. It was a small campus, military town, very family friendly, very family oriented. Homecomings were very lit. I was a cheerleader. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to go to Elizabeth City State, because I wanted to do the stomp and shake cheerleading. I wanted to be an AKA. Like, I already knew what I was going to do on campus regardless, but I still did it, just not at ECSU. I did it at Fayetteville State. And so yeah, I was a cheerleader. I became an AKA in spring of 2010. A lot on campus because I just wanted to make the best of my campus experience. I did just that because you're only in college once, so I did just that. And like I said, from the jump, I knew I was going to go to an HBCU, and that was just that. We're done and nails are on. So now let's talk about the real stuff. Not even gonna lie, my 20s sucked, okay? The early part of my 20s sucked. There's just no other way to put it. Oh my God, can I tell a traumatic story without crying? We're about to find out. I go off to college, finally free. So long story short, before I moved out, I got into a huge argument with my stepdad. I was bullied constantly growing up. I guess it was just built up animosity towards everything, anybody. So one weekend we did not have a football game, so cheerleaders were able to go home. Also the band and everything, because my best friend was in the band too. I was coming home. Oh, hold on, y'all. Really long story short, my stepdad did not want me back at the house. He just woke up one day and said, I don't want her back in this house. So at that point, basically, it was either I'd be homeless, like when I'm away from campus. When campus is closed for like the winter, it was either I'm homeless or move with my sister who was living in Maryland at this time. Now keep in mind, never thought in a million years to move to Maryland. Maryland was never in my bingo card. When I went to visit my sister, because I have family in Maryland too. My aunt and my cousins, they lived in Maryland too. That was the only time I was going to Maryland, just to see my sister and my family. No intentions of ever to live there. But did I want to be homeless? No. People always ask me like, dang, why you left Winston? Why you never came back to Winston? Because I was gonna be homeless. What you think? I mean, be homeless and hanging out downtown? No. So I ended up moving with my sister. And honestly, like, the DMV was not that bad because we were in Prince George's County at the time. And I started like getting used to it. I learned the metro system. I learned how to ride the bus. I didn't know what a beltway was, y'all. I was like, beltway, what's that? When they said beltway, I'm thinking like belts that we wear. Like, what is that? I love riding on the metro bus. I learned so much about DMV, the subway, the metro. I used to call it the subway, child. What they say? Nah, son, that's the metro. I'm like, oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I love the culture. I love how DMV people talk. Like, I just started kind of liking it. But like I said, it was not by choice. It was not by choice. Obviously, it's what God wanted for me to do at the time, so I did it. My uncle, who I love so much, because there were times where I had to go back home. And so my uncle was so gracious enough to let me stay with him because I had nowhere else to go. I didn't have a car. I didn't have anything. So he let me stay with him anytime I went home because I had nowhere else to go. At the age of 18, I was not allowed to go back home. So I just had to navigate adulthood in a way that I was not expecting and in a way that I did not want to. I'm not even gonna lie, I resented my mom for a while. I just started really hating my life. I started hating my situation. I was already at a school that I never intended to go to. My family life sucked. And I noticed I started becoming really mad at God. Although like I didn't have a relationship with God at the time, I still prayed, I still went to church, but I started getting mad at God because I was not understanding why. I'm a good person. I don't bother nobody. I don't do anything. So why am I experiencing such hardship right now? Then things started getting really dark for me. I used to watch Law and Order Special Victims Unit, like, all the time. So I used to follow the cases. I used to like, Benson, girl, you like, Olivia was my girl, okay? Never in a million years do you think those things will happen to you. Well, it did. I always talk about this dark season that I experienced before meeting my husband. That was probably the darkest moment, and it just got darker from there. I was, grape minus the G, and that really sent me in a spiral, a dark one. It's very apparent that I was set up. Okay, for you crazies, I was not drunk. I did not have and I think that's why it's so traumatizing, because I remember it clear as day from the beginning to the end. Never thought in a million years, but yeah. I mean, hopefully I'm healed enough to talk about it in a separate video. So if you would like to know, trust me, I don't care. But anyway, so yeah, I experienced that, and that just sent me in a spiral. They refused to do a test on me. And so from that situation, it traumatized me so bad to the point where I went years without wearing Hanes underwear. Because anything that reminded me of that situation, I could not see it. I couldn't look at it. I couldn't wear it. Strapless dresses, because it was summertime. I didn't wear strapless dresses. I didn't wear crossbody. Anything that reminded me of what I had on that night, I never wore it again for years. Nope. Because I was just that traumatized. I was assaulted. I've had the biggest fallout with my dad because I had moved to live with him. This was after I graduated. And it just felt like even being there in his presence, I still was invisible to him. That's what it felt like. And so I ended up moving to New York, doing my own thing. And I remember it clear as day. Keep in mind, at this time, I was mad at God, okay? Let me tell you, I was mad at God, okay? And so all this bad stuff was just happening to me to the point I heard him loud and clear say, move back to Maryland. Left Maryland to go do my own thing, rekindle this relationship with my dad. After that situation, I dated nobody. The next person that I date and give any time, effort, anything to is going to be the person that I'm going to marry. Imagine somebody taking advantage of you that you didn't ask for. Now, all this happening, I hated men, okay? For a while, I hated men. No, I was not going the other way, but I just hated men. It seemed like every man in my life failed me. My dad, my stepdad, my boyfriend that I thought I was gonna marry. He was back at home, but I was in college. He ended up finding somebody else. It seemed like every man that came into my life failed me in some way. It seemed like either they took advantage of me, they didn't love me, they hated me. I don't know what it was. I wasn't talking to God directly, but I just said, I'm done dating. I'm tired of men. I don't want no parts to do with men. I stopped casually dating. I went celibate. I did not want nobody. I did not want anybody. So I ended up moving back to Maryland with my sister. And that's when I started finding myself. Like, I just started taking myself out to eat. I started doing stuff for myself. I started kind of loving who I was becoming. It was like I wasn't getting validation from anybody. It was like I looked myself in the mirror and I said, wow, you got some pretty skin, girl. You look good today. Ooh, that thrifted outfit you got. It was like I was like finally loving myself without validation from a man or from friends. Like, it was like I loved what I started seeing. Because like I said, I was getting bullied for being dark skinned, having full lips, being skinny, nobody. I didn't have a father figure to tell me how to love myself, blase, blase. I had to relearn those things on my own to the point where I started doing stuff for myself. I started taking myself out to eat. I started just, I don't know, it was like a brand new beginning for me. I heard God clear as day say, move back to Maryland. After I did all that, trying to escape this reality, trying to escape what I just experienced. In New York, I was assaulted and too much. It was just too much, too expensive. We're a grown woman living with her sister again. We just gonna figure things out. So fast forward, I just got back, just got a job. I was working in Baltimore and Northern Virginia. I was doing a night shift in Baltimore and drive down to Northern Virginia, sleep in the parking lot, because I had to do what I had to do. Like I said, I was finally at a place where I started loving myself. I started taking care of myself, because who's gonna save me? Who? I didn't have my mom, you know, I just fell out with my dad. My sister had her own livelihood to take care of. Who else is gonna save me? Nobody. So I had to do what I had to do. And so over time, that did get a little overwhelming. So I did quit the North Virginia job and I just stayed with my job in Baltimore. Yeah, so like I said, I started loving myself. I started doing stuff for myself. So now I'm going down to see my friends. We're going down to CIAA to have fun and, you know, enjoy CIAA. I'm driving on 95 and I get a call that just sent me over the edge, if you know what I mean. I froze and I just said, I'm done with life. That's all I said. I said, I'm done with life. I am done with life. If you're ever driving in Northern Virginia past the Quantico sign, I think that's the Quantico sign before you get into Fredericksburg, there should be a memorial there for me, because that sent me so far off the edge that I let go of the steering wheel and I drove off the highway. I attempted so over everything that I went through in my life. I was over it. There literally should be a memorial there for me, because I wanted it all over. I wanted to be free of the pain, free of everybody, free. I just wanted to be free. But somehow, something inside of me made me jump. I grabbed the steering wheel. I got back on the highway. There was no truck, no car, nothing in my lane when I got back on the highway. That's how I knew God wasn't done with me. That's how I knew God was not done with me. So I got back on the highway, bamboozled that I'm back driving, made it to Charlotte safely, turned up, enjoyed that weekend as if I was not about to off myself. So nobody knew. I didn't even tell my best friend. I just partied, turned up, got my butt back to Maryland. I came back and I said, girl, you really got to get your together. Honestly, you're still alive for a reason. 2, you have to get yourself together. I remember saying this to myself because, like I said, I started loving myself finally. And I said, you are on a path of destruction right now. And if you don't get your together, you are going to die. Because you don't even want to be here as is. So you need to get yourself together and you need to find purpose for why you are still here. Okay? Joel Osteen does his tours around the world and stuff like that. So he ended up coming to DC at the National Stadium. And so I don't usually shout. I don't shout in church. I don't do none of that. Like, I'm entertained by it, but I never did it. And so, oops, sorry. I never did that. But at that, what was it called? Night tour that he was doing. That was my first time ever shouting, ever crying. Like, I never did that. That was like my first real encounter with God in a public setting. I know my sister was looking at me like, girl, you okay? But she had no idea that I literally should not be in that stadium. My memorial should have been on 95 2 weeks prior. So once I left that night, I just noticed a shift in me. I got my butt back in church. To Spirit of Faith. I was going to the Baltimore location. I started going to the Bible studies, just learning. I just started reading my word. I would take my Bible to the park. I would like start studying, like, you know, and even at this time, like, you know, men, because like I said, I started taking care of myself. I started like looking better, feeling better over time. Like, it didn't happen overnight. It took a while. And so now that I'm looking better, I'm taking better care of myself, you know, blase, blase, men are starting to come out of nowhere. And I'm like, nah. It was to the point where I got so comfortable telling guys what I wanted and what I didn't want. And baby, all I had to do was say I was celibate and they were ghosts. Men were not playing around with that. And so it just got to a point where like, I just started getting so comfortable saying that, and they left me alone because, like I said, after being taken advantage of in that way, you don't want nobody touching you. You don't even want anybody to attempt anything, to give a man that much power again, to take something so precious from you. So I was just like, no, I can't do this. Nope. So life started getting better. So I finally got into school. I did want to go to Morgan State, but I ended up going with Bowie State. So I finally got into grad school. I was like, ooh, because I just needed better for myself. I did not care. I just wanted better for myself. I wanted to do better. So I was like, look, nobody can take education away from me, okay? And so I got into my master's program. After applying to so many jobs, I finally got a federal job. This is how strategic God is, y'all. I know I've been talking for an hour, but I'm almost done. But basically, I was just applying to anything, literally any and everything. If I wanted a government job, I was applying to jobs to every Army base in Maryland, Aberdeen, Fort Meade, Fort Belvoir, What's the one in Frederick? I did not care as long as it said federal government, because I knew at least at that time it is something stable. Most of my sorors that I met at my graduate chapter, I was in my graduate chapter in the DMV area. So a lot of my sorors had government jobs. You know, they were GS 12s, 14s. So I was like, look, I need something, okay? So I was literally applying to every Army base, every government job in Bethesda. I did not care. I just wanted a federal job. So finally, only one out of the 50 I applied for called me. Only one called me. And that is where I met my husband. Literally, like, we crossed paths, and I remember just feeling, because remember, I was not casually dating anymore. I didn't want a man. I didn't want nobody, nothing. I just wanted to be by myself. And so when we crossed paths, I just felt like this weird inner feeling. And what was crazy about it is that he was white. And so I've never been opposed of dating out of my race. Like, I had a white boyfriend in middle school. My solo time, every man, like black men, white men, Asian men, everybody. Like, DMV area is a melting pot. And so it was just a mixture of all type of men. I mean, I knew what I liked and I knew what I wanted, but I wasn't ready for love, period. When I crossed paths with him at the time, it was just like this weird feeling that I had. And so I told my friend, I was like, girl, I'm having dreams about this man. Like, I can't get him out. Like, it was so weird. We hung out the one time, and we sat beside each other. And so he had a picture of two boys in his wallet. And so I looked and I was like, dang, this man is married. He got kids. Like, I was having dreams and thoughts about him, and like, I saw his wallet. He opened his wallet and I saw these two boys. And because of my upbringings, you know, not having my dad, weird relationship that I had with my stepdad, I always said, I do not want a man with kids. Like, my situation traumatized me so bad to the point where I did not want to date anyone with a kid. Because I actually gave a guy a chance that had a kid, but when I told him that, he never told me he had a kid. Facebook told me because he was tagged in a baby picture, and I thought it was his sister, and come to find out it was his daughter. You can lie about not having a child. You can lie about anything. And so I just said never again. But come to find out, they were not his kids. They were his nephews, which are my nephews now. And so long story short, eventually started dating. He was ready to get married. He knew what he wanted from the jump. He said, hey, I know you're young, you're single, living life. I am at the point in my life where I'm ready to settle down. I'm ready to have kids. I'm not for the games. Saying that, like, point blank period, because he knew what he wanted. He said, if that's not something you want and that's not what you're ready for, this is not going to work. I ain't gonna lie, that kind of turned me on, because I've never heard a man talk like that. You know, men would tell you, like, yeah, I'll be ready to settle down, this, that, third. A lot of men, they can be questionable about what they want and stuff like that. He said, if this is not what you want, it's not going to work. And I don't know, that just turned me on. And the fact that he had no kids, he was single, like, I don't know. This time that I did differently was I prayed about it. Any other man that I've come in contact with prior to, you know, when I told them I was celibate, they went ghost on me, I never prayed about it. It was like God was protecting me so I wouldn't give my time, energy, or soul to another person, especially in that season. But also, like, I never prayed about it, because I was just so sick and tired of just casually dating and stuff like that, that I just said, God, if this is meant to be, I don't know, I don't have a Sierra prayer or anything, but I just remember praying to God, if it's meant to be, this will be. And I remember saying, like, whoever my next person is, that's the person I want to marry. Long story short, We met, we started dating. A couple of months later, we eventually started talking about marriage. Like, we weren't even together like 6 months, and we were already talking about marriage and stuff like that. And so, cause I had just got my first apartment, y'all. Like, I got me an apartment. I was on my grown woman-ish at this time. You hear me? Like, everything was looking up. And then I meet this guy, but we didn't live together. Even though I just got my apartment, I did not want to live with a man because first of all, if we're gonna live together, I need a ring on my finger. But two, I just was not ready to invite somebody into my space. Remember, I was put out of my house. I lived with my sister. I lived with my dad. I had no stability for years. And so I finally get stability in my life. And this man comes into my life. And now I kind of find out he lived like 7 minutes from me because he was living with his parents because he was saving to get a house. And so he was basically like right down the street, and I didn't know. Started talking about marriage. Then we found out we were expecting. Like, you know what, hey, let's just go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and get married. And so literally less than a year, I became a wife, a mom, a homeowner, a graduate student, a YouTuber. I mean, my life really changed in less than a year. Like, think about what I told y'all from the beginning. Years until my life changed for the better in less than a year. 12 years later, we're still married. We have 3 kids now. We live in Texas. We're doing so much better. And wow, the fact that my life is what it is now. I don't really talk about marriage. It's like that because sometimes I can't even believe that this is my life. I cannot believe how much happier and how much better my life is. All because God knew what was ahead for me. It would have been so selfish of me to end it the way that I wanted to end it, not knowing what was ahead for me months later. The situation happened in February. Crossed paths with my husband in June, July, I can't remember. Not only would he have not had the wife that he has, my children would not be here. My children would not be here. And they, although they're kids, they are the best things that have happened to me. I love being there, Mom. And had I not been here, they would not be here. I say all this to say, and it's all because of God. I may not be the perfect Christian. I'm not no Bible thumper, none of that. But one thing I'm never, ever, ever, ever going to be ashamed of doing, ever, is giving God all the glory and the praise. Because I should not be here right now. I should not be on camera. I should not be on YouTube. I should not be here. Like I said, if you're driving down 95, if you live in DC, Maryland, Virginia, and you're driving down 95 and you see the Quantico sign, that should be me. My memorial should be right there. But it's not. All because God intervened, because he knew what was ahead. All the hell and the crap I went through in my past, it's not even all that I went through. I can sit here and talk more about this stuff. I don't want to be so focused on the negative stuff that I've encountered in my life that it takes away from the blessings that I have. Because I love the blessings I have. Okay, I am a blessed woman. You hear me? Because people get mad at like, oh my God, how she come up? How she this? God, baby. Like Kiki Palmer says, it's all God. I should not be here. Okay, anytime you want to get mad at a blessing that I have or because something's working out in my favor or this, that, don't blame me. This was in God's divine plan for me. I did not want this. Remember, I wanted out, but I'm here and I'm reaping the harvest that was meant for me, all because I said yes to God. Okay. I let go and I let God have his way. And my gosh, I mean, it's not perfect. Every day is not perfect. I still encounter things to this day. But my God, I give it to him and he knows what to do. He knows what we need before we even ask. And so whenever I have moments, I mean, even through financial situations, because I don't have a 9 to 5, this is what I do. Things have been really slow for me. Like, he really takes care of his children. And I'm so grateful that he did not give up on me, because I've come so far to give up, and this is only the beginning. And so I just wanted to share this because there's somebody right now, especially with everything going on in this world, with this administration, like there's a lot going on and the rates are going high. Men are getting really abusive more than ever, especially with so much going on. Women are losing their lives, bringing forth lives. People are going through hardships, losing their jobs. Like, it's a lot going on. Please don't give up. Please don't give up. I know how easy it is to want to end it all, but if you can just fight the good fight of faith, trust God in the midst of your valley. Psalm 23, even though I walk through a valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for God is with me. He is with you in the valley. The long valley that I went through, he was with me the whole time. Even in those 2 attempts, he was still with me, because if it was meant for me to leave, I would have been. But I'm not. I am here. And obviously there's a purpose for me still being here. And I'm so excited just for letting this truth out, for sharing this story. I'm excited to see what else is out there for me, but I'm excited to see how hopefully and prayerfully it changes lives, because you're not alone. You're not the only person that's gone through hell and back. I know how easy it is to feel like you're the only person that's gone through this, that's gone through that, black sheep of the family, this thing, that. I know. And like I said, I'm only telling y'all half my story. Okay? You're not the only one, but trust me, you're not alone. And I hope that my story and testimony can bring some type of understanding that it's not over until God says it's over. Okay? It's not over until God says it's over. Because I wanted it to be over. But he said, no, I'm not done with you yet. And the fact that it even took me years to even be comfortable and confident enough to talk about this is how I know he's still not done with me yet. Nails are done. Yay! Are done. And like I said, it's just to hold me over until I can find the other nails that I want to do. So you can see I put those on the pointers and then put those on the ring fingers, and then the rest are Frenchies. Yeah! I put the top coat on, so let me go ahead and do that. Thank you guys so much for rocking with me all these years. I know this video is so long. Sorry if I bored you, but I hope you stayed around. Hope you got your snacks and your water. But I just wanted to share that. And moving forward, I want to talk more about healing, overcoming trauma, because like I said, if it wasn't for Jesus and therapy, even to this day, like I've been in therapy for 6 years because of the amount of trauma I've encountered. It is only through Jesus and processing things through therapy that I am able to function and not crash out and take my anger and frustrations out on people, on my family, on those who hurt me, even the people that hurt me and never apologize. Because I ain't never getting no closure for people that hurt me, okay? They'll never be that bold enough to send me a message and apologize, because people just aren't wired like that, okay? And so, yeah, keep it moving. I pray for people. Like I said, I'm a happy-go-lucky person. I am a positive person. Like, I don't do that fake positivity. Like, I love being a positive person. I love being a happy person. Now, every day I'm not like that. I have my days too. But for the most part, I'm a bubbly person. I have a bubbly personality. I love life. I love people, and I'm not going to let what should have taken me out make me feel ill towards people, because that's just not right. I thank y'all for rocking with me all these years, and I hope that my testimony, what I've shared so far, could be some hope and healing to you, and let you know that it's going to be okay. And if it's not over, God's not done with you yet. Okay. Everything I used will be linked in the description box. Know in the comments what you think. So if you feel free to have a conversation with me in the comments. And like I said, stay tuned for more videos of healing and overcoming all the things. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.